What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be discussing Token's Pink is Better album that just dropped on Friday. So Token, he's kind of a YouTube lyrical miracle rapper. I've always kind of placed him in the same category as someone like NF. Just kind of corny. There's definitely talent there for sure, but never really, just not the kind of music that I personally enjoy listening to as far as hip hop goes. I had first heard of him when he did his Sway freestyle, and then he had released, sporadic songs on YouTube, namely his YouTube rapper song, which I again thought was just super corny. The Sway freestyles, though, I will say, and I actually rewatched them yesterday, I believe that he murdered just both of them, especially the first one. You can tell that he was just like a kid that grew up on hip hop who really saw his moment to shine and just, hit the ball out of the park. So I knew he was dropping a new project, but I wasn't really counting down the days until he was dropping it. I saw it and I just decided to kind of give it a shot, and it's not something that I typically listen to. So my overall opinion of him hasn't really changed. His flow on some of these songs is fun. However, when I hear songs like Caught on Camera, I can't help but think that he sounds a bit too much like Jid. Like the label kind of influenced him to take on that sound a bit more. On songs like Sip, I hear a big Drake influence, especially like Take Care era Drake. I can hear that in him. Just a lot of lazy songwriting. I hate how he uses Can't Help But to start bars on the song I Can't Help, and then ends bars with either Thank God and A Little Different on the tracks Thank God and A Little Different. Like I said, just lazy songwriting from someone who I think presents himself as this like super lyrical guy. And some of the bars on this album about sleeping with women were just like super cringy. A lot of this album sounds like a man who just got out of a serious relationship and is just having fun, but is actually heartbroken. I can't think of, honestly, anything worse than his bar about eating pussy while listening to Playboi Carti on the song Pink. It made the song unlistenable to me. It was just terrible. He says something like, "Oh, all my fans think I'm sad, but I'm actually, eating pussy while listening to the new Playboi Carti album." And I'm like, I can't believe that you would include that. Just super corny. The production on here was just a mixed bag. Seraphin Pratt, who I believe is like a close friend of his or a childhood friend, I don't know, but they're both from Massachusetts, so I think that they're close. I'm not too familiar with Token outside of this, so like I said, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. And then Ronnie J, because I believe Ronnie J has some sort of like partnership with Atlantic Records, and this came out on Atlantic. The Ronnie J beats were dope though. High Heels with Rico Nasty, great song. Rico's energy super infectious. The drums on the track are just really, really good. The very next song, Hot, also has this crazy bass. Listening to it with a good sub is just fantastic. Like if you can listen to this in the car, you have a dope subwoofer, I think you would be impressed. I'm not entirely sure who produced Hot because at the time of me recording this, Genius hadn't updated the credits for that song. Overall, I think the album is very similar to Joyner Lucas's ADHD album. He's clearly trying to remove himself from the lyrical miracle rapper label. However, on ADHD, Joyner still had some storytelling songs. He still had some like songs with an overarching theme like Will, and Token really isn't doing that. I felt like Joyner had the ability to sprinkle in a little bit of pop into his sound to make it a little bit more palatable for mainstream audiences. And I don't know if the mainstream is really going to care about Token at the end of this. Overall, I don't think that Atlantic is the right label for him. I know he has his own sub-label, but they clearly want him to make more poppy songs, and he even mentions it on the song Best Highs, that the label just wants hits. And you can tell songs like Chit Chat and IOD are clearly label influenced tracks, especially since Lil Skies is on IOD. And I don't know if Lil Skies would have been someone that Token would have worked with outside of both of them being signed to Atlantic. But in a weird way, IOD actually turned out to be one of my favorite songs on the project, just because it brought something different and broke up the monotony of the album. Overall, as a new listener, I still don't feel like I know Token. Apart from one or two bars about not having a father in his life, his sister being in rehab, and in the final song, he mentions being sexually assaulted as a teenager. Not that I really, like hearing about those things, but I wish that there was a little bit more vulnerability on the record outside of relationship problems. This album definitely piqued my interest in Token, but not enough to say that I'm a fan. I'll still kind of be checking out to see what he drops in the future, and I wish him nothing but the best. And I hope that he can change his style a little bit more to make his music a bit more enjoyable for me. My final rating on the album was 4.5 out of 10. My favorite songs were Sip, Hot, and High Heels featuring Rico Nasty. And my least favorite were Be Happy, White Turns Red, A Little Different. For the production, I have it at a 5 out of 10. Would be much higher if there was a little bit more variety in the beats. That's why I really like Sip, even though, like I was saying before, I do think that it sounds like Drake era Take Care. I do think that it had a little bit different of a sound, didn't have as much like bass as some of the other songs, so it was a good change of pace. Lyrically, I gave it a 4 out of 10. I always, first couple of listens, I'll listen to it and just kind of passively listen to it. Then I'll follow along on Genius, and really when you read the lyrics on Genius, it doesn't actually do him any favors for me personally when I'm reading it. I just didn't think that he really barred out on any of these songs or went crazy. The melodies on this song, 3 out of 10. Don't think there are any really good hooks. The album cover, I actually kind of liked. I gave it a 5 out of 10. It was kind of cool. Aesthetically, it looks kind of cool with the gray and the pink. The features, I gave a 5 out of 10. I know I didn't mention it, but I thought that the Benny the Butcher featured Amsterdam track was kind of cool. I liked Benny on that beat, but I mean, I'm like a low-key a Benny the Butcher stan, so anything that he goes on, I'm going to be a fan of for the most part. Don't really think that, Token's the one that's doing it for me there. But I like I said, I really enjoyed Rico Nasty on there, Lil Skies. Some of the features were actually pretty good. My favorite verse was Token's verse on IOD. My favorite beat was either High Heels or Hot. And yeah, overall, it's a 4.5 out of 10 for me. We'll see how this album ages, but at the moment, nothing too special. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.